Jerry Beal here again, and this recording I'm calling excuse me, take a half hour to become basically enlightened. This is another way I'm explaining our human thought reversal problem. Bodies are often victimized and abused, but the we who perceives and the we who experiences cannot be victimized, nor can we be rewarded. Not really. It's all a pretense. But we can and are believing such utter nonsense, and we're unconsciously conspired in playing all this human nonsense out as a passive and aggressive manipulating game of pretenses, going on unnoticed and thus unaccounted for. We can feel rewarded and we can feel victimized, but it's always a pretense that we aren't recognizing as a pretense. If you put it in other words, I'm off script, if you put it in your mind that it is a pretense, your mind will let you understand how it is a pretense, and that that your roles and all you're doing all the time is just a pretense. You're just role playing, and your mind will help you understand that if you put it in your mind. Therefore, the whole entire mindset of this makes me happy, but that makes me upset. Or said another way, what happens in the world is affecting our feelings and experiences of life is a lie of such far-reaching consequences that it affects a constellation larger than we could imagine. And as a matter of fact, for us, it's our entire social world. Our entire social world is captured and imprisoned within that incredibly dishonest and irresponsible mind context, and only a very few people on earth are aware of it. The following is a cute little happening with my young kids to prove out what you just read or heard. Many years ago, when my children were younger, one summer day they were out in the backyard on the lawn playing. My then 3-year-old boy had the water hose nozzle in his hands, trying to figure out how the nozzle works. He was only 3 years old. The water was turned on, but the nozzle kept the water from coming out, and so my little boy was trying to figure it out. I was sitting on the back porch watching the kids play. I started smiling to myself because I knew that any moment he would push the handle and the water would come gushing out and spray all around. And I was getting ready to see what the results would be. After a short while, his next older brother, age 5, came up to him, ready to either show him how the water nozzle works or to take the hose himself and have some fun with it. Meanwhile, one of my daughters, age 7, so that's 3, 5, and 7, came walking up close to see what was going on. Then all of a sudden, you guessed it, my 3-year-old boy did find the right handle to push to cause the water to come gushing out, and that's what happened. But instead of the water spraying in my 3-year-old's face, it happened to be pointed at the other 2 kids when the spraying water came gushing out pretty fast and furious. I probably shouldn't have laughed so hard when I saw the super surprised looks on both my 5-year-old boy's face and my 7-year-old girl's face, but I couldn't help myself. Now here's where this happening proves what is causing what when it comes to human feelings and human experiences. I'm going to prove it, and you'll realize that you've been incorrect about all this as I prove this out to you. And the clue is that it isn't what nearly everyone in the world thinks it is, and that would be what happened. I'm saying what happened didn't cause any reactions of either of them because they got sprayed in the face with the water hose. Yeah, they were surprised by what happened, but their reactions to it aren't coming from what happened. But both of them thought what happened did cause them to react the way they did react. It took about 3 seconds for those 2 kids to catch their breath and get what had just happened. And when they both did get what had just happened, My little 7-year-old girl started crying as she went running into the house to report her victim's story to her mom. When her mom asked her why she was crying, she answered, "Tyler sprayed me in the face and made me cry." But when my 5-year-old boy caught his breath from getting sprayed in the face with the water hose, he started laughing and grabbed the water hose from his younger brother to play with it himself. A little later, I went over to my 5-year-old boy and asked him, "Why did you laugh when you got sprayed in the face?" And he said, "Tyler sprayed me in the face and made me laugh." In other words, both my 7-year-old girl and my 5-year-old boy gave the very same cause-reason with two completely different feeling experiences as the effect. Now I know, and even if you don't know, that the same cause cannot cause two completely different feeling experiences. It's just impossible. Cause and effect don't allow that. Something very significant is missing with both of those two kids' reactions from getting sprayed in the face with the water hose. One blaming her younger brother for making her cry, and the other one crediting his younger brother for making him laugh. And the aspect that is missing, which is the real cause of both of those two completely different feeling experiences, is appropriately called their own defining mind context about. Their own defining mind context about. And what just happened about getting sprayed in the face with their with the water hose. That's what they were relating to, is their own defining mind context about what happened. So each of them were experiencing their feelings about what happened. Now listen, once removed from what happened, through their own and each very different interpretations about what happened. I'm going to read that again. So each of them were experiencing their feelings about what happened once removed from what happened, through their each and very different interpretations about what happened. My 7-year-old daughter used a problematic defining mind context about getting sprayed, and so she received a problematic experience. Cause and effect. Did you get that? Her problematic defining mind context was the cause of the effect, that she had a problematic experience. And my 5-year-old boy used a happy defining mind context about the very same event, and so he received a happy experience. Again, cause and effect. And I mean it. I'm off script here, but you have no idea what you just heard. You heard the most important thing that you will ever hear in your life. I mean it. There's nothing more important that you will ever hear than what you just heard. That they were relating to their own defining mind context about what happened, while they still believed, and everybody in the world believes, they're relating to what happened. Meanwhile, what happened was the subject of their experience, but it's certainly not the cause of their experience. Did you get that? It was the subject, but not the cause. Even though almost nobody on earth thinks that honest and responsible way. There's a few strictly raised Buddhists and some serious students of A Course in Miracles, but that's about it. And thus one received a problematic experience and the other received a happy experience over what they both thought was the same cause, getting sprayed in the face with the water hose. So here's my question to you. Did the event cause the experience? Duh. As nearly everyone on earth currently believes is the cause-effect relationship, or did their each and own completely different defining mind contexts about the event cause those two completely different feeling experiences? You know which it is, don't you? You know now. And I in a way, I wish you would fall down on the floor so that you would mark this point in your life where you figured it out, or it dawned on your mind. So again, was it what happened that caused their two completely different feeling experiences, or was it how they each interpreted what happened that caused their two completely different feeling experiences? And again, I'm saying you know the answer now, don't you? The answer, which a Greek-turned-Roman Stoic philosopher named Epictetus 101 told us is people's mind. Now listen to this. People's minds are not disturbed by events. I'm pausing. People's minds are not disturbed by events, but by their own judgments on events. People's minds are not disturbed by events. In other words, people's minds are not disturbed by what happens or the physical, material aspects, but their minds are disturbed by their own problematic judgments about the physical, material aspects that are problematic, that they deem problematic, you know. So please think about this example regarding my little kids in light of the quote that you just heard. You know, that one's mind was disturbed by her judgments about it, and the other one was happy because of his judgments about it. So please, each of my two kids chose a completely different way of thinking about what just happened, and that's what caused each of them to receive a completely different feeling experience as the effect of what just happened. I'm saying it another way, another time, to help you reinforce in your mind, get it in your mind what I'm talking about here. Yet one of my kids reported, Tyler sprayed me in the face and made me cry, and the other reported, Tyler sprayed me in the face and made me laugh. Hello? What's the cause? It isn't what happened. See, those are both false statements, and that's what's called humanity's thought reversal problem, is crediting and blaming what happened for what your own interpretations about what happened is causing your feeling experiences. Thus, my little 7-year-old girl should have reported, Tyler sprayed me in the face, and the problematic defining mind context I used about what happened made me cry. In other words, something happened, and my problematic way of thinking about it made me cry. She should have reported that way. And you know it now, don't you? You know she should have reported that way. But our language, I've thought about it a lot, you know, and our language isn't set up for that. And neither is your mind. Your mind is warped. It's diseased. Almost everybody's mind on earth is diseased. It's not set up that way. You know, it's not set up to receive the truth. It's only set up to receive interpretations, projections, and a whole bunch of role-playing bullshit. And my boy should have said, Tyler sprayed me in the face, and my happy way of thinking about it made me laugh. That's taking honest responsibility for one's own feelings and one's own experiences. And that's what frees our mind, you know. What will free our entire social world of this terrible thought reversal problem is to realize that only when the care and keeping of bodies is the issue do we need to apply problematic interpretations to the people, to the conditions, or to the events. You know, we don't need to apply problematic interpretations to anything at all except when the care and keeping of bodies is the issue. What's so dangerous about this misplacing of the cause of our own feelings and experiences is that we try to resolve problems based on problematic conditions or problematic events instead of dealing with our own and chosen problematic interpretations about this, that, or anything at all. I'm saying anytime you apply a problematic interpretation, you'll have a problematic experience, and it doesn't matter what the condition or event is. Did you get that? It doesn't matter. The conditions and events don't matter. Your problematic way of thinking about them sure matters, or your own defining mind context about what happened is what's mattering in your life. We humans, in not knowing that we can't help but cause our own feelings and our own experiences, very obviously rob ourselves of our own personal truth. See, that's what we're doing, is we're robbing ourselves of our own personal truth that brings our own personal power to experience anything that comes along in our lives, any way we choose to interpret and thus experience anything that comes along in our lives. Nearly everyone is making the same very horrible mind mistake by either crediting or blaming what happened for what happened means for he or she. You see, we're relating to what things mean while we think we're relating to the things themselves. We think we're relating to the physical material aspects when what we're really relating to is our own mental interpretations about them. We're making a terrible mistake by either crediting or blaming what happened when our own defining mind context about what happened is causing all of our feelings and all of our experiences and all of the time. Please put this example in your mind so human truth can rescue you from your own ignorance around what is causing what when it comes to human feelings and human experiences. The three children I'm talking about now are aged 29, that were 3, 5, and 7. Now they're 29, 31, and 33. They have been out on their own for quite a while. Yet sometimes I wished I could go back to 1985 and teach my children what A Course in Miracles calls right-minded thinking, or correct-minded thinking, and that's what Social Evolution Institution is charged with teaching and extending into the world. That's what social evolution is about, is teaching right-minded thinking, or human truth, which is only human interpretations are able to cause human feelings and human experiences. That's human truth. And by the way, I don't know any other truth. I don't know any other truth but that, at least as far as us personally is concerned. It means that we're cause pretending the roles of effect. Sad to say, and back then in 1985, their mom and I demonstrated, and thus we taught our children, wrong-minded thinking. Just like nearly, wrong as in incorrect, by the way, just like nearly every child in the world is sadly programmed into now. Now they'll have to struggle, my kids will have to struggle to reverse their thinking in order to line up cause and effect, to embrace human truth, again, which is only human interpretations are able to cause human feelings and human experiences, so they can leave the dishonest and irresponsible mindset of, this makes me happy, but that makes me upset, behind. So they can leave that all that bullshit behind. So they can leave all those illusions behind that are such a gigantic problem for nearly all of our entire human family. Thus, nearly all human adults have carved out and extended wrong-minded thinking, and we have built our individual and combined worlds around that wrong-minded thinking. We build up our worlds on a false basis that the world is affecting us, is what I'm saying. And so our reasoning comes out of that ignorance, that false pretense. And that's the silly and stupid reason for conflicts, great and small, in our lives. Again, only bodies are able to be victimized, not us. We're only pretending all that bullshit. To become basically enlightened, people need to correct their mind so their mind will give them the experience of the truth instead of continuing to give them the experience of the illusion of the world as affecting us. Therefore, one becomes basically enlightened the moment he or she realizes that what happened isn't affecting them. Thus, that one is born again as an infant, like an infant trying to leave the illusions behind that they before thought was some kind of reality. But then, it's as though that person has to go clear back to their young formative years to leave illusions behind, because we've already built up our worlds around this makes me happy and that makes me upset, and so all of that is in our cells, and it's just, the born again means that you're a baby and you have to learn more and more and more, but at least you're extending right-minded thinking instead of extending wrong-minded thinking, again, but then it's as though the person has to go clear back to their young formative years to leave illusions behind by embracing and extending human truth, so that one's mind can construct a completely wonderful, honest, and responsible world for that person to live in. We live in our mind. We think we live in a physical world as a body, but we don't. We live our lives in our mind. If you don't correct your mind, or if you don't instruct your mind to only give you the experience of the truth, your mind will continue giving you the experience of illusions and of one who is playing out the roles of an effect self with conflicts large and small that don't allow your own and unconditional peace of mind. Meanwhile, those who become enlightened before they pass, remember, enlightened is just to realize the world isn't affecting you, but you are affected by how you interpret the world. That's the basic enlightenment I'm talking about. Meanwhile, those who become enlightened before they pass their mortal coils will find their self-conscious awareness above the fray, or above the battleground, as my main mentor puts it, my main mentor, A Course in Miracles, puts it, whether while still embodied or afterward. Those with an enlightened self-conscious awareness know what A Course in Miracles means with the quote, "There came a time when you forgot to laugh." There came a time when you forgot to laugh. A Course in Miracles also says every thought you have affects a constellation larger than you could possibly imagine. And that starts to that was the most thrilling statement in my life, because I've always wanted to, if I could be as an observer and explore all of the moons of Jupiter, and as an observer, see what's going on. It would be so fantastic to see all the things that are going on in what we think of as time-space. A Course in Miracles, it means the dream, what every thought you have affects a constellation larger than you could possibly imagine. It means the dreamer of the dream has awakened, at least enough to realize he was never the dreamer in the dream. You're never your body or the sense of selves that you're role-playing out. That's not what you are. You're the dreamer of the dream, not the dreamer in the dream. Therefore, we can explore this gigantic constellation as cause, instead of being so heavily burdened with our own role-playing, playing out the roles of effect. It means if we want to, as I said before, our self-conscious awareness can explore, as an observer, all kinds of planetary peoples, what they're doing, how they live their lives, and who knows what else is going on in this constellation we call time-space. A Course in Miracles' main purpose, and way beyond, too, now they think about multi-universes, and that's why the constellation is so large that we can can't imagine it. A Course in Miracles' main purpose is to reverse the thinking of the world. Think about it. As I've been telling you here, we're cause, not effect, to reverse the thinking of the world, so the thinking of the world finally lines up with cause and effect. And in correcting the reversing of cause and effect that you've been so deeply committed to so far, just as I have, except for 25 years ago is when I was born again, you could say. So that's when I started studying all these things. And so in correcting the reversing of cause and effect that you've been so deeply committed to, A Course in Miracles calls that correcting a shortcut. Simply a shortcut. In other words, that person who corrects his or her mind before they pass can shortcut any further body lifetimes of being stuck in their own mind masses because of still clinging to this makes me happy and that makes me upset, which requires your portion of the mass mind to continue to give you the experience of having overcome that thought reversal problem. Who knows but that we've been being so stupid as we're stuck in this thought reversal problem for even eons of time, if time were real. And now finally, the truth has set us free of chasing our own tails lifetime after lifetime. Thanks a lot for listening to this recording.